Merhabalar herkese. Hepiniz IEFTalks Webinarları'na hoş geldiniz. Bugün University of Limerick ile İrlanda'da lisans ve yüksek lisans programları hakkında öğrenmeniz gereken detayları Kiara'dan dinliyor olacağız. Lütfen sorularınızı soru cevap bölümünden yönlendirmeyi unutmayın. Yes, Kiara, the stage is yours now.
Teşekkürler Zeynep. So good afternoon, iyi akşamlar, and thank you so much for joining me here this evening. So I will try and cover as much as possible in my slides about anything you think you might want to know about the University of Limerick and Ireland, but please feel free to put questions in the chat box and I will send around the slides to everybody afterwards. So you'll have the opportunity to click on links and look at the information again afterwards. So I am Kira Halliday, and I am the International Officer for Europe and Turkey at the University of Limerick in Ireland. I myself am alumni from the University of Limerick. I studied my Bachelor of Business Studies and French at the university, so I can tell you truthfully what a great experience it is. You have my contact details there and the contact details for our office should you ever need to get in touch with me or anybody on the team. So looking at the map, we like to think Ireland is very much in the center of the world. Our next door neighbors on the left-hand side is the US. Our next door neighbors on the right-hand side are the UK and the rest of Europe. So if you were flying from Dublin to Istanbul, it's about 4 hours and 30 minutes. So really, you're relatively close. We're well connected with the rest of Europe. So those are the beautiful cliffs of Moher in the background, which are less than an hour's drive from where we are at the university. But a very quick overview. So Ireland is within the European Union. Our capital city is Dublin on the east coast. Our primary languages, we actually have two. They're English and Irish, which is a Gaelic language. But don't worry, we only teach through English, speak English, and you would find it very difficult, in fact, to find somebody who speaks Irish anymore. But within the country, we're only 5.3 million people, so we are small, but that's what helps it feel very much like a community. We're very friendly, we're very welcoming in Ireland, and we love that we've become such a multicultural little country. We have a long-standing reputation for high-quality education in Ireland. This is built on a solid foundation of commitment to excellence for our students and throughout our third-level institutions. And just one thing that I will go into, because I'm going to focus very much on employability throughout this presentation, is that there is part-time work available to students while studying and good stay-back visa options for those of you who are visa holders. So looking at it from an employment perspective, Ireland is very small, but we're very mighty when we look at employment. So we have a proven track record of success where world-leading and established companies have chosen Ireland to have their European headquarters or to have some form of operations within the European Union. So there's over 1,000 multinational companies who have their European headquarters in Ireland, including LinkedIn, Meta, TikTok, Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, Eli Lilly. So we have a lot of tech companies, a lot of financial services companies, a lot of med tech type companies. So throughout my slides, I have a few of them listed on the right-hand side so you can see the logos from those companies. And we've always had a very innovative and creative culture within the country. So known as the land of saints and scholars, you may know James Joyce or Oscar Wilde. In music, you might know U2 or the Cranberries. But we've also had a number of inventors from the country too. So the stethoscope that's used daily by doctors was invented by an Irish man, as was color photography, which are two that I find particularly interesting. So why do employers choose Ireland? Because at the end of the day, why are you going to study abroad? You're choosing to study abroad to improve your skills, to improve your English, to get a worldwide view of education and the world. So employers choose Ireland for a number of different reasons. Some of these are here. It's that we're a safe and friendly country. We are number 2 on the Global Peace Index. We are, of course, an English-speaking country, and there's only Ireland and Malta who are English-speaking within the Eurozone. We are well connected. So as I say, we have the US on one side where we always have great relations because there's 70 million in the Irish diaspora around the world because historically we've always traveled. Then again, we have great connections to the UK. There are flights from Shannon Airport, which is just down the road from us here, with over 400 per week from the country to London. We're the second from youngest median age, so only Cyprus is younger than us. So Ireland is a very young population. Again, employers are coming in and finding these skilled graduates to take jobs. And we're known for having one of the best education systems in the world, known for our academic quality. So companies who require a skilled and educated, English-speaking and motivated workforce come to Ireland because they know that they can recruit those graduates here. We have one of the most educated workforces in Ireland, with 62% of 30 to 34-year-olds having been through university, which is compared to the EU average of just 43%. And for those interested in research, we often come top of the polls in areas such as immunology, agricultural sciences, nanotechnology, and materials sciences. So again, I mentioned some of these earlier, but it's really the top 10 almost of ICT companies, gaming companies, global pharmaceutical companies, and medical device companies that choose Ireland to set up. But of course, all of these companies require people in legal, in accounting, in marketing, in support services. As well as the strong foreign-owned multinational companies that are here, there are many well-known Irish companies that you might not realize are Irish, such as Smurfit Kappa, Cement Roadstone Holdings, Kingspan, Paddy Power, and of course, they have big operations here in the country. For those interested in food and drink and dietetics, competitive advantage in food and drink sector is clear in Ireland. We're the largest exporter of beef in Europe and the 4th largest exporter of beef in the world. So looking at where we are at the University of Limerick, so this is our tiny little country, and Dublin, the capital city, is on the east coast. Cork, which is the 2nd largest city, is in the south. And then Limerick, where we are, is the 3rd largest city in Ireland, and it's in what we call the Midwest. So there's about 100,000 people in the city centre, about 150,000 in the surrounding county and countryside. But in that 150,000, there's 150 different nationalities. So it's very diverse, both on campus and within the city and its surrounds. And again, back to being young in Ireland, 50% of the population of Limerick are under the age of 35. So it's very much a student and young professional age group living and working in the area. Ireland, again, is very small, so it's very easy to see the rest of the country while you're based in Limerick. So it's less than 3 hours to get to Dublin by bus or by train, and it's less than 2 hours to Cork or to Galway. For the first few weeks of the term, we, in conjunction with the Student Life and Students' Union, organise trips around the country so that you can get to see the beaches, the cliffs, the small little villages, the islands, and the more remote places around the country. And then just finally on the kind of employment part and looking at the region. So Limerick is the 2nd fastest growing area for foreign direct investment in Ireland. So outside of the capital city, Limerick is the fastest growing area. Key growth would be we're only 30 minutes from Shannon International Airport. So aviation and aerospace, tourism is huge in the west of Ireland, and engineering, design and manufacture. Then, as I mentioned, financial services and medical devices are important business throughout Ireland, but also a key growth sector here in the Midwest. Film is really big. We actually have one of the largest film studios in Ireland based right here beside the campus. So sometimes as part-time work, students can do a little bit of acting. And also the bioeconomy and health and life sciences. So some of the companies that are right beside us here on campus, including Dell, Johnson & Johnson, are listed here at the bottom of my slide. I'll leave you look at videos in your own time, but these are some photos from Limerick City. For any of you who know Dublin or Cork, you'll see that it's just a smaller version, but might look similar to them. We have over 30,000 castles in Ireland, so you'll be happy to hear that some of those are in Limerick. And there's two videos there about Limerick City and County. And the second one is filmed in conjunction with the other university in Limerick, very much as your home away from home. So looking specifically at us, the University of Limerick, again, there's a nice video here if anybody would like to look at it in their own time. But we turned 50 3 years ago. So the video looks at where we came from, the last 50 years, where we are, and where we hope to be. UL is known as a home of firsts. We were the first university founded in the country since we became the Republic of Ireland. We were the first to offer cooperative education or internships to all of our undergraduate students, and we were the first to have a female university president. Facts and figures, we have just over 18,000 students here with over 3,300 international students, so that's almost a fifth. We have buildings that take up 250,000 meters squared on a 366-acre campus. So it's huge. That's just a little bit of it there in the background of my slide. In the very back, you can see some of the business building, the humanities building, computer sciences. As you get closer, you start to see the engineering buildings. And just there on the right-hand side, you can see what's one of our 8 student villages. So they're apartment-style living, garden down the middle, very, very comfortable and so close to the campus. We have 50 undergraduate programs and 200 postgraduate programs. And again, within the campus itself, we have over 100 different countries represented in our student body. Some more videos for you in the meantime, but again, just to give you an idea, top left is another one of our student villages for living on campus. The bottom in the middle is the library, which I'll be talking about again in a few minutes. And top right, you can see some of the sports facilities on campus. So we have an indoor and outdoor running track. And then we also have the River Shannon, which is the longest river in Ireland, which runs right through the campus. So it's very easy to get a moment of calm, somewhere to go cycling or running or walking. And you can in fact go all the way from the campus into the city centre alongside the river if you wish to do so. So looking more specifically at programs, and again, we could have people here who are interested in all different types, but we are a comprehensive university. So we have a large science and engineering faculty, which covers everything from civil and aviation engineering to electronic and computer, maths and statistics, and also the more product design side of engineering. In education and health sciences, we have medicine is only at graduate entry level. So you must already have a bachelor's before you can do medicine at the University of Limerick. But otherwise, we have various programs on sports science, on physical education, nursing, psychology, and education itself. Under arts and humanities, we have law, which is popular with our Turkish students, history, English, digital media and communications, and also sociology. Although it's very niche, if there's anybody here who's interested in music and dance, we have the Irish World Academy of Music and Dance here on campus in Limerick. And those are programs made up of students from all over the world, so they're highly international. And then our Chemie Business School is triple accredited. It has EQUIS, AACSB, and AMBA, which means it is in the top 1% of international business schools because only 1% hold these three accreditations. So we have accounting, finance, human resources, marketing, international management, and business. One thing I forgot to mention, back to our science and engineering, is that we do, of course, have computer science, we have games development, we have cybersecurity and artificial intelligence. So very popular programs at the moment. For those interested in bachelor's studies, our programs are 4 years in duration. The reason for this is that one, we highly encourage Erasmus and exchange, but the other is that you have a co-op or internship built into your program. So those are mandatory placements which take place for 6 to 8 months. So for one semester, the whole class are out working instead of studying. Generally, we'd have larger lectures at bachelor's level. You could be anywhere between 100 and 400 students if it's a big program like business, but your tutorials and labs would only be 25 to 30 people. So much smaller and much more contact time with your teachers, your professors, your teaching assistants. I've included a video there from one of our ambassadors, Arisha, after her first year here at the University of Limerick studying her bachelor's. So again, the co-op program is one of the top reasons why students choose the University of Limerick, me included, because it means you have something already to put on your CV when you graduate with your bachelor's. It's such great practical experience. For the most part, they are paid placements. So you're earning while you're learning and you're working, and it looks great again once you graduate. For some students, they will leave their work placement with a job offer for when they graduate. So it's really important to put as much effort into your work placement as you can. It's one of the largest placement programs in Europe. It's been running since we became a university in 1972. And again, our ethos here at the university is all about giving you the skills to be employable so that when you graduate, you can stay here if you wish to and work in a very good job from the moment you graduate from UL. Then for those looking at master's programs, so the majority of programs, certainly in business, science and engineering and humanities, they are 1 year in duration, which is 2 semesters of study. And then the third semester is an unofficial semester where you're working on your research project or dissertation. It's mostly in health sciences. There are a small number of masters which are 2 years, and that's because they have a placement as part of those. So for things like physiotherapy or nursing, you will have a placement as part of your master's as well. If you want to look up any of the programs, the full list is there. And if you want to look up any of the modules in more detail, you can do so on the book of modules. We do also have a doctoral college. We have many students here doing their PhD. I think I have 8 from Turkey. So again, if you want to look at the research programs and the contact people for PhD level, you can do so there. For everybody, whether it's undergraduate or postgraduate, our career support and employment office are there to help students throughout your time at UL. So as a result, we're in the top 200 global universities for graduate employability on the QS employability rankings. And 96% of our graduates are in employment or further studies within 6 months of graduating from the University of Limerick. This is all thanks to assistance with writing your CV for the Irish/UK type market, interview preparation workshops, one-to-one skills testing, and also they hold a really big careers fair every year at the end of September or start of October, where there's almost 200 Irish and multinational employers, and you can go in for the day, hand out your CV, ask questions about graduate roles, and generally get an idea what types of jobs are out there for you. Hard to say an exact salary because of course it depends on what you're studying and what type of job you go into, but the average graduate rate of salary is €35,500. The graduate market survey is linked there, so if you want to look more specifically at your faculty or program of interest, you can break it down by that. And for more information, I've also linked the career services. So post-study work opportunities in Ireland. So this will apply anywhere throughout the island of Ireland. For non-EU students or those who require a visa, you can work for 20 hours part-time during the term time. So outside of your studies in the evening or the weekends, you can work for 20 hours. During the Christmas break and during June, July, August, and September, which is deemed by the government as the break time, you can work a full 40 hours or what we call a full week on your visa during that time. Then when you graduate, if you have your bachelor's, you can remain in Ireland for 12 months or 1 year working full time. And if you have your master's, you can remain in Ireland for 2 years or 24 months working full time. It's worth noting that it used to be 2 years in the UK and has just been reduced to 18 months. So Ireland in that case is a better bet. If you're studying your master's, you can stay here longer to work once you have graduated. One thing that I think is definitely worth looking at in Ireland is what we call the critical skills occupation list. It's a list of areas where we have skills shortages in Ireland and where we need people. So it's broken down by area and then into specific roles at different levels of seniority. And if you fit into one of those, it's much more likely you would be sponsored to stay on and work with that company and have an additional visa after your post-study work visa runs out. These are just, again, some of the companies that have European headquarters or operations in Ireland, where our students do their internship or also graduate and work afterwards. So some of those that are circled in green are right here beside the campus. So you don't even need to leave Limerick or the local area. So in terms of applying, it's quite simple really for applying to UL from Turkey. So undergraduate students need to have maths, English, and another language. Turkish is fine, amongst your final subjects at school. And we look for 70% or 4 out of 5 in your lycée diplomatie. If you don't have that 70%, you will need to do a foundation program. But generally, we find that's not an issue for students and they have 70% or above. For postgraduate students, then, for those of you coming in to do your master's, we will need you to have a bachelor's already, often in a related discipline, so science and engineering, if you're going into science and engineering, with an average grade of 2.5 out of 4. For all students, you have to submit an English language test. So we accept IELTS of 6.5 or the equivalent. We accept TOEFL, Cambridge, Duolingo, Pearson. So the full list is available there at the link. Generally, at undergraduate level, we don't look for a letter or CV or references. It will be listed on the program page if we do. If you would like to include those things, you are more than welcome to include additional documents with your application. At master's level, it is more likely you might be asked for references, a CV, or to do an interview before you will get your offer. So in terms of application, I've only listed the Turkish entry requirements there, but if anybody is studying A-levels or SAT or IB, you can email us at ulglobal@ul.ie and we'd be very happy to give you the entry requirements for those exams. Then we have a rolling admissions process. So you could still apply for 2025 entry, September, if you wish to. But generally, our rolling admissions process opens in October and goes until the 1st of July. That is to leave enough time for applying to visas, okay? So 1st of July is the final cutoff. You can apply directly from the program page. So we'll just say you want to do the master's in aeronautical engineering and you hit apply now on the page. You have to pay €50. There is an application fee, but you can list 2 programs in order of preference. So we'll say aeronautical engineering and then secondly, mechanical engineering, for example. If looking for 2025, I would really encourage you to apply as soon as possible, because some of our programs will reach capacity and will close earlier than that 1st of July deadline. The other thing to bear in mind is if you want to live in on-campus accommodation, that is quite scarce. It's very popular. So you'd want to apply now in order to secure your bedroom on campus. Our admissions team will try to get a response to you with a conditional offer or unconditional offer within 14 to 21 business days. So it just depends on how busy the period is. If you don't have your final grades from school yet, that's fine. If you don't have your English certificate yet, that's fine too. You can make your application based on your grades to date or predicted grades, and you will just get the conditional offer until you have met all the conditions, until you've uploaded your transcript, your English cert, etc. In order to officially accept your offer and secure your place on the program, you do need to fill out an acceptance form and pay €600 to hold your place on that program. For those of you who are struggling with maybe 0.5 of IELTS or 1.0 of IELTS, we have intensive programs throughout the summer. So you can do a 5-week program for 1,900, or you can do an 8-week program for €3,000, which will bring you up to the necessary IELTS level in time for classes beginning in September. If those of you who are looking more towards the future, we also have general English programs. We also have preparation for university programs for 1 semester or 1 full year. I do have 2 Turkish students currently studying here. One is studying law and one is studying computer science. And because they just needed to feel more comfortable with the English, they did an extra year of English before beginning their bachelor's studies. So that is absolutely an option that is open to you. Tuition fees, so the best place to find them is on the program page. It will be the most up to date, but you can see the full list there on our finance website. Generally, undergraduate fees range from about €17,000 to €22,000. Science and engineering is a bit more because of the labs and the equipment and the resources involved. Postgraduate fees then range from €15,000 to €20,000, with most of them sitting somewhere in the middle, about €17,000 or €18,000 for the year. In terms of scholarship opportunities, so we have small merit-based scholarships. They are ranging from €2,000 to €2,500, depending on the faculty. When you, the student, apply to study at University of Limerick, you will be assessed both for admission and for scholarship at the same time. So when you get your offer letter, you will be told if you've also got a scholarship. In terms of sports scholarships, we do have some. The window is closed for 2025, but for any of you looking forward to the future, if you're playing and competing at a very high level, a national level, you can apply to the sports scholarships. So again, I've linked to where there's more information generally about scholarships at UL. And then just briefly to cover us as a university and some of the supports that are available to you, the students. We do have those 8 villages, as we call them, on campus. So we have 3,000 spaces for students, and we do hold an allocation for our international students to ensure that you have bedrooms secured before we open it up to the rest of the students. So for all cases, you would have a private bedroom, and in every apartment, you would be sharing your kitchen and your TV room between 4 and 8 people maximum. If you're paying a little bit higher in terms of the range, you can get an ensuite bedroom like the one that's pictured here, where you have your nice double bed, ensuite bathroom, and each room has a big desk for studying at. So that's a picture there from one of our living spaces. And again, you kind of have some idea what the villages look like. Prices start at about €5,500. That's for the undergraduate accommodation where you'd have 8 people and you might be sharing a bathroom. Then it goes up to about 7,000 plus for postgraduate students if you want to have the double bed and the ensuite bathroom. Now, postgraduate students can live in the cheaper accommodation, and the undergraduate students can absolutely pay more for more private accommodation. That is your decision. So on the website, you can look at the different types of rooms, the different villages, and what might be the best fit for you. It is open now. As I say, the rooms are starting to run short. So if we've anybody for 2025, please get your application in as soon as possible. They're very safe. There's 24-hour security on campus. There's reception with long hours in case you lose your key or something breaks. And it's a nice way to get to know other students on campus, to start living with your peers. It's €50 to apply, but this does become part of your deposit. So the €50 is the best investment that you can make in order to secure that bedroom, and then you don't have to worry about it over the summertime. We are known as Ireland's sports campus. So we actually began as a college of sports and exercise science. So on campus, we have a 50-metre swimming pool, a 25-metre diving pool, the highest climbing wall in Ireland, and many different studios, tracks, courts, and pitches for various different types of sport. If you are living on campus, in on-campus accommodation, your membership to UL Sport is included. So that's a nice little perk to paying your rent each month. You also have access to all the facilities. However, if living off campus, you can also get a student membership to the gym, the fitness studio, and all the facilities there. Our library is something quite spectacular. So it might seem funny to have a whole slide about it, but it was completely redone in 2018. The majority of the books were put into this vault where the robot has to go in, take out the drawer, and take out the book that you've requested. In doing that, it has freed up the rest of the library for study spaces for students. So we have silent study rooms, we have group study rooms, we have rooms where you can project up on the screen and use various media. And there's really just so many facilities there available to our students. So there's a full-time team there who can help you with taking out books, renting laptops, booking of spaces. And we've everything from the moot court, which you can see there for our law students, to a lab where all students can do 3D printed pieces throughout the year, again, regardless of what you're studying. Academic support's super important to us here at the University of Limerick. So the video sums it up quite nicely, but effectively we have 5 learning centres here at the university. So if you feel like you need an extra bit of help in terms of writing, in terms of systems and IT, in terms of maths or science, you can go to these learning centres. It's a totally free service. It's run by teaching assistants and volunteers, and they will be able to help you with whatever you're working on, be it assignments or something that you have to do for class or not quite understanding something. So they're a really brilliant resource, and I've linked there to where you can find more information about accessing those. For all students as well, when you come in, all undergraduate students are assigned an academic advisor. So that's usually one of your course directors or your professors, and they're somebody that you can go to if you want to chat about your career or worries about the program or whatever it might be. There's also a student engagement and support officer per faculty. So again, if you have questions about programs, about electives, about careers, you can go to those people for a bit of a chat and a bit of advice. And then for master's level students, you will of course have a thesis supervisor to see you through your research journey. Student supports then outside of the academic supports. Again, we have a great video here, but we have been voted for the last number of years as first in Ireland for overall international student happiness and satisfaction on the International Student Barometer. So this is something we strive to keep winning, and it's very important to us that you feel part of the UL community and have everything you might need nearby. So we have a medical centre on campus, we have counselling services for students that might need it. We have the Teach Foilte, which in Irish means welcome house. And it's again somewhere to go if you need to have a bit of a chat or meet with somebody for some advice. There's plenty of options on campus and you should never sit in silence. So something we really want to get that message across from day one of you being a student with us. Once you have your offer letter, you will also have a link to what's called Campus Connect. So it's an app for your phone. There is a desktop version, but effectively it's like joining WhatsApp groups. You can link up with each other in advance. You can join a group about accommodation or about visa and immigration, about life in Limerick, and your peers will answer, our student ambassadors will answer, and our team is on the app as well. So it's a great way for answering all your questions before you arrive in Ireland. For anybody who'd like to volunteer, you can do so. If you work with us as a student ambassador, that goes towards your volunteering hours for the President's Award. And we have a program called First 7 Weeks, which is student volunteers who are on campus, again, to offer advice, to answer questions, and also to show you around. So for anybody who's worried about the size of the campus or the buildings, please don't be, because we have lots of people on hand to help you out and to direct you to where you might need to go. And then there's us, so the UL Global team. We have what's called the Globe, which is our student space. So we welcome students there. We host events there for Diwali, for Lunar New Year, for Thanksgiving. This picture at the top of my slide is actually from Republic of Turkey Day in October. So I had been at IEFT with Zeynep and the team and came home with lots of baklava and lokum and halva, and we had a lovely afternoon in the Globe. So it's a place where we love to host different events from different countries, different regions, and students are all invited to come and take part. So outside of the cultural events, we also do accommodation support and advice, visa and immigration workshops, and weekly well-being sessions too. And clubs and societies. So we have 70, 80 plus clubs and societies, everything from politics and yoga to American football, cheerleading, trampolining, kayaking. There's really such a mixture here. There should be something that you find interesting, and we'll hopefully meet other students, both Irish and international, who have the same interests as you. One that's really popular is kayaking, or the Outdoor Pursuits Club, because again, here we're based very close to the countryside on the river, and it's a nice way to get to see other parts of Ireland with the weekend trips as well. So why UL, just to sum it up, so we are in the top 500 of QS universities, we're 421, and we're also in the top 500 in the Times Higher Education University rankings. Then in Ireland, we have our own education awards amongst the universities, and we have Best Marketing and Comms Team, Best Student Engagement and Communications, Best Library Team, Best Erasmus Programme, Best Internship Programme, Best Accommodation, and the Overall Excellence Award from last year. So really, we came home with lots and lots of trophies, and again, something we're very proud of and want to pass on to you, the students. And as I mentioned, #1 in Ireland for international student satisfaction. So I won't go through these, but I have here just a couple of examples from some of the Turkish students who've studied here with us. So Umit was psychology, and he is now doing his PhD. So he's decided to stay here in Limerick for a further 4 years. Yarkin did psychological sciences. He is now back in Istanbul working in a university. And Yaya is currently here studying aeronautical engineering. So these are just some testimonials from some of our Turkish students who've enjoyed their time here at the university. Other information, so this is kind of your important information if you're looking for this year coming. So in terms of the academic calendar, we do start at the beginning of September. So orientation actually starts on the 1st of September and classes begin on the 8th of September. Then you have quite a long break at Christmas time, or for the winter break. So from 20th or so of December, whenever you finish your Christmas exams, and then you don't come back until the 26th of January. So you could either stay in Ireland and be working full time during that time, or you can go home. That's totally up to you. And then the spring exam period is around now. So it's the 6th to the 19th of May next year. After that, again, undergraduate students are free to work or travel or to go home. Postgraduate students are then turning into their post-study work visa. And cost of living, so this is an important one. Of course, it depends on the person, but we've done an estimation there based on living on campus, your immigration registration fee, an estimate for health insurance. We say that you need about 13 or 14,000 euro for living comfortably for the academic year. So at the bottom there, I have put a link to a website that does updated prices for food, for drink, for taxis in the Limerick city area. And you can look at that and budget based on what your normal costs or expenditure is. Just to note again that you can work those 20 hours during term time, and our minimum wage here is €13.50. So if you multiply that by 20, you can get about €1,000 per month if you are working part-time. If you want to join up to our own webinars, we have various different future student webinars, and we bring in our global ambassadors. We do various different events online, and you can do a virtual tour here too. Our ambassadors do great videos. They're on TikTok, they're on Instagram, they're on YouTube. So I've linked some of my favorites there. But again, you'll find us at UL Global on any of the normal channels. So global general queries can go to ulglobal@ul.ie. Future events you'll find in our news centre. You'll find our blogs at studyireland.ie. And as I said, UL Global on any social media. And I think that is me. So Tashekiri Derim. I am very happy to receive follow-up emails, follow-up queries. I'm going to have a look at the chat box now and check that I haven't missed anything. But if you feel like you didn't get enough information, or if you are an offer holder, we do monthly offer holder events throughout the summer. And then in August time, we do pre-arrival webinars. So you will have all the information you require about applying to your visa, registering with immigration when you get here, what types of things you need to pack to bring to Ireland, and how to register for your program and your student number and your student ID. So that's all a bit further down the line. So I'm going to have a quick look now. So I'm just going to run through these. I may have answered some of these already, but how are students assessed? We don't have any specific entrance exams. So for undergraduate students, we're just looking at your transcripts from high school and your English certificate. For postgraduate students, we're looking at your GPA from your bachelor's degree, your English certificate, and as I said, depending on the program, we may also request a CV, academic references, professional references, an audition if it's music or dance, or an interview. How does the university support students in finding jobs after graduation? So again, the careers office, please use it from day one. Make sure your CV is in the correct order, attend the careers fair, speak to employers there, hand out your CV, ask about their graduate programs, and do the skills testing so that you know the areas that you're strongest in. Again, I would reference the critical skills occupation list so that you know the areas where we have skills shortages and need people to work for us. But also from the careers page, they will post jobs, which you will also get through your student email. So those will regularly be coming in, and it's up to you then to apply to those. There are alternatives to IELTS and TOEFL. We do accept Duolingo, so that's 120 overall and no less than 110 in any of the categories. We also accept Cambridge and Pearson, but there's a full list on the website. Oh, most popular programs. That is a really tough one. So business analytics is very popular with international students, as is international management and global business. Sports performance. We have students from all over. Psychology tends to be a good mixture. From Turkey specifically, I would say law, engineering, and computer science. But again, we have students from all over the world, from North America, Latin America, Asia, South Asia, China, and across Europe, Turkey, Central Asia. So it's a real mixture. In terms of employability, why we stand out is again down to that internship at bachelor's level. So every single one of our students who complete their bachelor's here are graduating with already 6 to 8 months of practical experience. We also have great links to employers because it's the longest running internship program in Ireland. So it's been running for 50 plus years. That being said, Ireland in general, as I say, is booming for industry and for jobs. So from most of the universities, you will have very good opportunities once you graduate. Yes, we have a careers fair. It's always at the end of September or the start of October. So you have 3 or 4 weeks to settle into life on campus, to prepare your CV, to get your questions in order before the careers fair. But then there are other ones throughout the year. So there will be a specific law fair day. There'll be a specific accountancy and finance day. So the careers office will again send those emails to your student email and to the student space so that you can attend those if you wish to. I would say teaching style is more practical. So whereas in a lot of continental Europe, you might be sitting in class from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. taking notes, it's not like that in Ireland at all. You will have some hours in class, 4 or 5 hours per module. So you might only have 16 to 20 hours in class per week. Outside of that, it's up to you to go and study if you've spare time, to work on your assignments. We do a lot of group work type assignments. Again, lab work for your science students, engineering students. So again, it's more about gaining those practical skills so that you can get a good job when you graduate. Even for some of the master's programs, the research thesis or dissertation has actually been replaced with a project where it's a simulated business environment, for example, for some of the business master's programs. Adjust to life in Ireland. So I would say absolutely make sure that you are here for orientation. So we do a full program for the week. In the morning, we have the information sessions, making sure you've registered, you have your student ID, but then we do campus tours and make sure you get to know the area. And then we do Irish music, dance, sports, a scavenger hunt across campus. There is a cinema night, there is a comedy gig. So there's loads of stuff on, so loads of ways to get to know each other. And then the first 7 weeks program that I mentioned, so they host events for the first 7 weeks throughout the campus. They have a hub in the student center, but then they'll host different things like book club or what are your favorite books? What did you do for the summertime? At St. Bridget's Day, so we have St. Patrick in March and St. Bridget, the female saint, in February. They make ornaments, so you learn how to make those. So there's lots of cultural things throughout the year and ways for you to get involved. But I would say on a social side, it's worth joining the clubs and societies as well, because that's where you'll meet other people and start to find your own community. And academically, you have your academic advisor, you have your student engagement and support officer. And for postgraduate students, you have your thesis. And then you also have those learning centers that you can tap in and out of whenever you might need them. So student community, yeah, we have about 18,000 students and we have about 3,500 international students. That's probably a little bit more than that if we're to include the EU students. So it's almost 20% of the population. But again, because Ireland for 20 plus years has had so many multinational companies coming into the country, we are very diverse within Ireland itself. There's 100 different nationalities on campus. There's 150 different nationalities living in Limerick. So there's various different bubbles, again, from North, South America, right across to India, China, Vietnam, Poland, Brazil, lots of populations here from all over. Research, yes, you can participate in research projects, more so for master's level students. So if you just from the very beginning of term, I would recommend getting in contact with your course director or with the module leader for whichever area is most of interest to you, and asking if they have any ongoing research or if they're aware of any researchers who might need research assistance throughout the year. So I know, for example, for artificial intelligence and machine learning last year, a number of the students were working on research with the professor alongside their studies. Yes, so this is a student who lives in Ankara and didn't get to IEFT. So I try to be in Turkey once in the spring semester and once in the autumn semester. So definitely look out for our Instagram posts, our TikTok. IEFT will have it on their website pages. And usually we attend as a group of Irish universities so that you can talk to a few of us and see what your options are. Equally, if you can't make it to anything in person, do have a look at our website and sign up to the mailing list, because we do our own monthly webinars as well. So you can always join one of those if you need more information. So in terms of scholarships, as I mentioned, we only have those partial merit-based scholarships. So there's nothing specific to Turkey. For the merit-based scholarships, you'll be assessed automatically when you apply. So if you need a 2.5 GPA for master's students, if you have 2.8 or above, you'll automatically get the scholarship. For undergraduate students, you need 70% in your high school. If you have 75% or above, you'll automatically get the 2,000 or 2,500 euro scholarship. So the 2,000 applies to science, engineering, humanities, social sciences, and the 2,500 applies to the business school. Whew.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much for the great presentation, Kara. And we had a lot of questions. You covered them all. Thank you for your answers as well.
No problem.
And also I would like to thank the participants in Turkish too. Katıldığınız için teşekkür ederiz arkadaşlar. Umarım sizin için de faydalı bir webinar olmuştur. University of Limerick ile ilgili diğer sorularınız için ekranda görmüş olduğunuz mail adresinden Kiara'ya her zaman ulaşabilirsiniz. Kendisine söylediği gibi Ekim ayındaki fuarlarımızda da University of Limerick olarak yer alacaklar. Bir sonraki webinarlarımızda görüşmek üzere. Thank you very much again, Kiara. It was a pleasure to have you in IEFT Talk.
Çok teşekkürler. Görüşürüz.
Görüşürüz. Bye bye.